You had a banana this morning, maybe some oatmeal. You took your medications on time, and then you laced up your shoes and walked for 30 minutes around the block, just like your doctor told you to. You came back feeling proud, feeling like you did something good for your body. But here's what nobody told you. That walk, it may not be protecting you from the one thing that scares Parkinson's patients more than anything else: falling. Every single day in the United States, thousands of people with Parkinson's disease fall. And not because they're lazy, not because they skip their exercise. They fall because the way they are exercising is not targeting the right problem. And today, I want to explain exactly why and what to do instead. Let's start with the uncomfortable truth. Walking in a straight line for 30 minutes feels like exercise. It feels like progress. But for someone living with Parkinson's disease, straight-line walking is almost the least challenging thing your nervous system can do. It is a single-direction, repetitive motion that your body learns on autopilot. And autopilot is exactly where Parkinson's destroys you. Here's what I mean. Parkinson's disease does not attack your ability to walk in a straight line on a clear sidewalk. What it attacks, specifically, relentlessly, is something completely different. It attacks your ability to turn your body. It attacks your ability to step sideways. It attacks your multi-directional balance reflexes, the instant automatic responses that catch you when you stumble, when someone bumps into you, when you reach for something and your weight shifts unexpectedly. These are not the same muscles and neural pathways you use during a quiet morning walk. They're entirely different systems. And if you're only walking in a straight line every day, those systems are not being trained. They're weakening, quietly, until one day you turn to answer the phone, your foot catches the edge of the rug, and nothing in your body responds fast enough to catch you. Think about the last time you actually fell, or almost fell. Were you walking in a straight line on flat ground? Almost certainly not. You were turning a corner. You were stepping sideways to move around a piece of furniture. You were standing up from a chair and pivoting toward the kitchen. Every dangerous moment in daily life for a Parkinson's patient involves rotation, lateral movement, and multi-directional balance. And none of that is trained by walking forward in a straight line. And then there's freezing of gait. This is one of the most frightening and poorly understood symptoms of Parkinson's disease. It's when your feet suddenly feel glued to the floor, often when you're approaching a doorway, making a turn, navigating a narrow hallway, or walking through a crowded space. It happens without warning. And here's the critical thing most people do not realize. Freezing of gait is triggered by complexity, by transitions, by moments when the brain is asked to do more than just continue a simple, familiar movement. Walking 30 minutes every single day in the same direction, at the same pace, on the same route, is the opposite of preparing your brain for those moments. You're training for a test that will never come, while completely ignoring the test that actually matters. Drop a comment below. Have you or someone you love ever experienced freezing of gait? I'd really like to know how many people watching this are dealing with it, because it is far more common than most people realize and far less talked about than it should be. So, what should you be doing instead? This is where it gets genuinely exciting, because the research on this is clear, it is compelling, and most importantly, it is very doable at home, without any special equipment, without a gym membership, and without being in perfect physical condition. The approach is called functional balance training combined with dual task training, and together these two methods target exactly the systems that Parkinson's disease attacks. Let me walk you through what this actually looks like in practice. The first thing to add to your daily routine is sidestepping, not walking forward, stepping sideways. Stand in your hallway or chair for safety if you need to, and take 10 to 15 deliberate steps sideways in each direction. This sounds almost embarrassingly simple, but what it does to your nervous system is profound. Lateral movement activates your hip abductors, your inner and outer thigh stabilizers, and, critically, it forces your brain to process balance from a completely different angle than forward walking. For Parkinson's patients, this lateral neural pathway is often severely undertrained. The muscles exist, the brain just has not been asked to use them in a long time. Sidestepping wakes them back up. The second exercise is weight shifting. Stand with your feet about shoulder width apart, hold a counter or sturdy chair lightly with one hand, and slowly shift your weight from your left foot to your right foot and back. Hold each side for 2 or 3 seconds before shifting, then progress to picking one foot slightly off the ground as you shift. This directly trains the postural reflex system, the exact system that catches you when you stumble. This is not glamorous exercise. It does not burn calories the way a walk does, but it is training your brain to respond to instability, which is the actual cause of falls. Do this for 5 to 10 minutes every single day. The third piece, and this one is backed by some of the most fascinating neuroscience in Parkinson's research, is dual task training. This means doing a cognitive task at the exact same time as a physical movement. For example, step sideways while counting backward from 50, or shift your weight while naming every animal you can think of that starts with the letter C, or walk a short path in your home while reciting the months of the year in reverse. Why does this matter so much? Because Parkinson's disease specifically disrupts the brain's ability to handle 2 tasks simultaneously. In a healthy brain, walking while talking is effortless. In a Parkinson's brain, dividing attention between a physical task and a mental task dramatically increases the risk of freezing and falling. Dual task training forces those disrupted neural circuits to fire together, repeatedly, and over time it rebuilds some of that connection. It's not a cure, but the research on this is genuinely impressive, and we'll get to that in just a moment. Here's a simple dual task drill you can do today. Stand in your kitchen near the counter for safety. Begin stepping side to side, left, right, at a comfortable pace. While you're doing that, start counting backward from 100 by threes. 100, 97, 94, 91. Keep moving. Do not stop when the counting gets hard. That difficulty, that mental effort happening at the same time as physical movement is exactly the stimulus your brain needs. Start with 2 minutes, build to 5, do it daily. Another powerful variation, walk a short loop inside your home, living room to kitchen and back, while naming out loud every item of food you can remember that is currently in your refrigerator, or every person in your family, or every city you have ever visited. The specific content doesn't matter. What matters is that your brain is working hard on something while your body is also working. That combination is the training stimulus. Now let's talk about what the science actually says, because this is not just theory. Researchers at the Mayo Clinic have published extensively on the importance of exercise variety and intensity for Parkinson's patients. Their findings are direct. A single, unchanging exercise routine, no matter how consistent, produces diminishing returns for the Parkinson's brain and body over time. The nervous system adapts to a familiar stimulus. Once it adapts, the stimulus no longer challenges it. And a nervous system that is not being challenged is a nervous system that is gradually losing ground to the disease. What the brain needs is novelty, variety, unpredictability, and that is precisely what functional balance training and dual task training deliver. Harvard Health researchers have published similar conclusions, specifically regarding what they call high-challenge exercise for Parkinson's patients. Their research found that exercises requiring complex coordination, balance demands, and cognitive engagement, things like dance, martial arts, agility drills, and yes, dual task training, produced significantly greater improvements in gait, balance, and freezing of gait compared to standard walking programs. The key finding was this: it is not the duration of exercise that matters most for Parkinson's patients. It is the complexity. A 20-minute session of varied, multi-directional, cognitively engaging movement does more for the Parkinson's brain than an hour of straight-line walking. That is not an opinion. That is what the data shows. There is also compelling research specifically on freezing of gait. Studies have found that patients who incorporated dual task training into their routine consistently showed reductions in both the frequency and duration of freezing episodes over time. The mechanism is not fully understood, but the leading theory is that dual task training forces the brain to develop alternative neural pathways, essentially workarounds that allow movement to continue even when the primary motor circuits are disrupted. You are not fixing the broken road, you are building a detour. One more piece of science worth knowing about: rhythmic auditory stimulation. Researchers have found that when Parkinson's patients walk or exercise to a steady external beat, a metronome, music, even someone clapping, their movement quality improves almost immediately. Steps get bigger, freezing decreases, balance improves. The theory is that the external rhythm provides a scaffold for the brain's motor system, compensating for the internal timing dysfunction that Parkinson's causes. So when you do your side steps and weight shifts, put on music with a clear, steady beat. It is not just more enjoyable, it's neurologically beneficial. I want to ask you something. Leave your answer in the comments. Does music help you or someone you love move better? A lot of people notice this intuitively and never knew there was science behind it. Let's talk about how to actually build this into your week. You do not need to abandon walking entirely. Walking is still valuable for cardiovascular health, mood, and general conditioning, but it should no longer be your only movement. Here's a simple starting structure. On most days, when you go for a walk, transform it into a functional walk, not a straight-line stroll. Add deliberate turns, stop and pivot, change direction, take some sideways steps along the way. Walk to a beat if you can. Make the walk cognitively active by counting steps, naming things you see, or reciting something as you go. This alone is a major upgrade from passive straight-line walking. Then, separately, spend 10 to 15 minutes each day on your functional balance work at home. Side steps, weight shifting, tandem standing, placing one foot directly in front of the other and holding that position. Sit-to-stand practice, which means rising from a chair without using your hands as much as possible, and sitting back down slowly and with control. These exercises, done consistently, are clinically shown to reduce fall risk in Parkinson's patients. And always, always layer in the dual task element. Count, name, recite, sing, anything that makes your brain work at the same time your body is working. If you can access any kind of group class, Parkinson-specific dance programs, boxing-inspired fitness classes designed for Parkinson's patients, Tai Chi or agility-based programs, please pursue them. The research on Tai Chi in particular is remarkable. Multiple clinical trials have demonstrated that consistent Tai Chi practice significantly reduces fall frequency in Parkinson's patients, more so than standard stretching or conventional exercise. The slow, deliberate, multi-directional movements of Tai Chi are essentially functional balance training in disguise. If there is a class near you, it is worth trying at least 3 times before you judge it. And here is the emotional piece that I think matters just as much as the physical. Many Parkinson's patients stick to straight-line walking, not because it is thoughtful, but because it is safe, because it is familiar, because it does not ask anything frightening of them. I understand that completely. Fear of falling makes the world smaller. It makes people stay on the smooth, flat sidewalk and avoid the stairs. It makes people stop going to crowded places. And over time, that shrinking world leads to weaker muscles, worse balance, less confidence, and ultimately, more falls, not fewer. The way out of that cycle is not to be reckless. It is to practice controlled challenge, to push the edges of your balance in a safe environment with a counter or chair nearby a little bit every single day, to give your nervous system the stimulus it needs to stay capable. That is courage, and it's also the best medicine available for this. Here's the bottom line. If you or someone you love is living with Parkinson's disease and the daily exercise routine is 30 minutes of straight-line walking, that routine needs to change, not because walking is bad, but because Parkinson's demands more from your nervous system than walking can deliver. It demands lateral movement, rotational training, multi-directional balance work, and cognitive challenge layered onto physical movement. It demands complexity. It demands novelty. It demands that the brain be asked to do hard things in varied ways every single day. That is what slows the loss. That is what keeps people on their feet. That is what the research shows. Talk to your neurologist. Ask specifically about a referral to a physical therapist who specializes in Parkinson's disease. Not a general physical therapist, but someone who knows the disease and designs programs around its specific challenges. Many insurance plans cover this. It may be the single most valuable conversation you have this year. Before you go, drop this in the comments. Are you currently doing any lateral or dual task exercises in your routine, or has it mostly been walking? I genuinely want to know where people are starting from because it helps me make better content for you. If this video was useful, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. A family member, a friend, a neighbor. You might genuinely change the course of their health. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.